Hello, good morning, good day, everyone. My name is Jerome. Oh, sorry, I forgot the clicker, I think. Or is there one? Yay! So I'm here with a very pompous title, How Blockchain Will Revolutionize the World of Gaming. If you're sitting there, instead of being at the coffee bar, you probably like blockchain or like gaming or like both. And hopefully you'll find this talk interesting. And this QR code leads to our NFT shop if you want to check out what we do. My name is Jerome. Yep. I'm the founder and CEO of Cometh. We are a blockchain game studio. We build games and we also build tooling for games. Happen to be also the president of Ethereum France, a nonprofit organizing meetups and conferences in France and French-speaking countries. It's an honor to be there in Brussels. We've tried a couple of times to do meetups in Brussels back in 2017. The community was rather small, and it's amazing to see how much it has grown from there, and congrats to the organizers of this conference. It's a really cool event. We're hosting a conference in July. I hope you paid a visit to us in Paris between the 18th to the 24th in Paris. There will be lots of side events and lots of good stuff happening around ETHCC. If you are around, come and say hello. We have a boat and a booth, and we drop cool NFTs like this once every time we are present in the conference. So at Cometh, we build games that live into the blockchain, live through the blockchain and by the blockchain. We create engines that runs as smart contracts, which is a pretty radical approach. So we try very hard to see what can be done with blockchain and games, how we can really leverage blockchain to do something good with games and vice versa. Here are some screenshots from our previous games. We had a front-end shop to see if we can sell in-game items. We had a DEX that we forked from Uniswap. We have a staking mechanism. We have a cool idle games. We have a multiple stars you can visit, and this is what the games used to be like. So as you can see, it was like AAA, super immersive experience with some dots moving around. The thing is, everything runs inside the blockchain. So we had the opportunity to test really the possibility for blockchain and gaming. And one of the good things that we found out is that you can actually run your game on blockchain. It's a bit clunky, it's a bit slow, but you get to connect millions of people together. If you've played a game like World of Warcraft, it's super hard to have more than, say, 1,000 or 1,500 people connected on the same server, whereas in the blockchain, you can actually connect 3,000 people and make them play for the same tournament, which we did. So very basically, we are continuing to create new games and exploring what can be done. And if you like games and you want to do something with game, we are a good sparring partner to challenge your idea, and maybe we'll give you some things you can work on, and maybe we can help you on different stuff. We are building a big blockchain and gaming community. We had some backlash in the previous years and in the previous months about what blockchain is really bringing to the game. And we are strongly believing that it's going to be something great that's going to happen to gaming thanks to blockchain. Our new game is about to be released soon. It's in public beta. You can try it out. It works on mobile. It works on different things. See what blockchain and gaming can mean in real life. Our vision for blockchain and gaming, and why we choose such a pompous title of revolutionizing the gaming world with blockchain, is that with blockchain, you're going to have multiple new business models for your game, whether it is leveraging DeFi protocols to finance your game, whether it is leveraging rentals, leveraging royalties and stuff. Things like that are really embedded into the blockchain and can be transferred to gaming right away. We also think that by 2025, most of the big hits in the gaming world will run either partially or entirely on permissionless network. Having the possibility of connecting people through the shops, for example, through the server, for example, or through the rentals, for example, is going to be very common in games. When you have experienced the sense of ownership that blockchain gives you over your gaming assets, you cannot really go back. The real big innovations is probably going to come from using blockchain as a medium for the narration of your game, and that means creating whole new genres thanks to the blockchain. We've been trying to find new ideas. We are not the best game designers. We are mostly a company of blockchain engineers, but we definitely think that people that are much more creative than us are going to take what blockchain can do and create whole new games from that. Giving you an example, you've probably played or heard about RTS as an acronym for real-time strategy. So games like StarCraft, Warcraft 3, Command & Conquer, and so on. It's its own genre, and blockchain can let you do those RTS at a much bigger scale. So instead of MMO RTS, let's say multiplayer, peer-to-peer RTS. That's the kind of possibility that blockchain can bring. That's just maybe an idea for what new genres of game can emerge with that. Finally, the most basic application of blockchain in gaming is going to be ERC20s for the commodities of your game, and also NFTs to represent the assets of your game. And that's the very native application of blockchain in gaming brought together. Hopefully, it will be a much bigger impact for the whole gaming industry than networking and 3D was back in the 80s, so back in the 90s and the year 2000s. So what do we do now? If you believe in this vision, let's look at how it can be applied to gaming. In a game that is immersive, that is a social experience that connects lots of people together, you have an economy. It's really hard to figure out a game without any economy that's really bringing a social experience. And for having an economy in a game, you need different things. I'm trying to get it down to maybe 3 or 4 points, but so far I'm at 5, so trying to reduce every time I'm thinking about this idea. The first one is, of course, you need asset and resources. You need to have commodities that can be used in your game, whether it is iron, leather, wood, whatever, like this type of minerals in your game, but you need to have commodities that can be traded in your game. This commodities is also linked to having some assets, like I have an armor, I have a sword, I have a car, I have something. Your game assets are things that can be traded. So if you have those game assets and those commodities, you need to have trading places to exchange the commodities together, to let the players trade the assets together. Of course, in order to convert the commodities to assets, you need to have production function, making sure that you can transfer the commodities and create something out of those things. This implies also potentially having recycling function. If I have a sword, can I get it back to iron and leather, for example? If I have a car, can I sell it for spare parts? And you need to have game design rules, like how easy it is to find iron, how easy it is to craft a car. And eventually also, if you want to get to another level, making sure that the players together can separate their usus, fructus, and abusus, having some players owning, some players renting, some players lending, some players buying together, and so on. What it turns out, for the very specific application of economy and games, of in-games economy, blockchain can help thousands, millions of times. ERC20 NFTs, soulbound items, which are NFTs that can be transferred, are native application of the blockchain. On the blockchain, we have open source automated market makers like Uniswap, like Curve, and so on. We have marketplaces that are rather centralized, like OpenSea, or rather open to the community, like Slooksrare, or eventually also protocols that can be reused for that, like what 0x protocol is doing. For crafting and grinding, we needed something, and we've built something that I will give you some details after this slide. You can actually craft things easily with open source protocol as well. Well, for the part of game design rules, you need to talk to a game designer, but that's a very well-covered topic. And in terms of splitting the usus, fructus, and abusus, you have rental protocols that are in development. It's been a topic that has been heavily invested by different VCs in the past months and years. And hopefully, new standards are going to come on this specifically. So I want to give you an example of what blockchain can be really applied like right now. If you played video games in the past 5 years, you are probably familiar with this kind of screens. Have you played this game? Come on, it's Skyrim. It's one of the most successful game of the last 10 years. So in Skyrim, you are a medieval fighter with magic and so on. You get to walk the world of Skyrim, and you get to craft stuff. So here you see the crafting bench. You can craft this iron mace. This iron mace does 11 damage. It weighs 13. It has a value of 35. You have the recipe of the iron mace, mixing leather strips and iron ingot. And you have game design rules. Like, well, if you are not that good at smithing, you cannot craft this mace yet. You get to get better at smithing. If you are not that good at smithing, you don't get to craft iron items. You are stuck with lesser good items. Everything here can be blockchainized really straightforwardly, and also, while it's being blockchainized, you let the community build on top of it and build tooling for it to work even better. Why is it so good to do crafting on blockchain? Well, first off, the whole metadata of the item inherits the property of the blockchain, which means that you can be, as a player, really owning the thing through the ownership layers of the blockchain. So you get to transfer something to your friend, you get to onboard your buddy to play Skyrim by transferring him the very maze that you've been crafting. You get to get together your crafting items and play another game with it, for example. On the very game design rules side, you get to have recipes that are dynamic with the state of the blockchain. On the previous slide, you see the recipe for iron mace. It's 2 laser strips, 3 iron ingots. Well, what happens if we have too many laser strips in the market? Maybe the rate between laser strips and ingots are not that good anymore. It's very easy to handle that if you are doing a solo player game, but if you are doing a multiplayer game, you're going to have some players that are just grinding and grinding more and more laser strips and making the laser strip to iron ingots rate really drop. It doesn't happen in blockchain because you can make that dynamic. You can create recipes that are directly linked with the price of a resource from a resource to another through AMMs, for example. And at a larger extent, this allows for a new form of much fairer, eventually, business model for gaming. So say, for example, you want to play Elden Ring, another game that is breaking the charts right now. You get to pay a license to play this game. It costs, let's say, $100. Instead of paying this license $100, you can eventually craft a license that is an NFT, and you get to keep this license until you don't want it anymore. Maybe you can rent this license to someone else. Maybe you can grind this license to get a part of the totality of your initial payment for this license. This is super flexible, and this can be applied pretty straightforwardly to any game. Let's have a deeper dive on how crafting system can work, for example. The recipe itself on how to craft this iron mace, you are burning ERC20s, or eventually you are getting your iron mace and upgrading it to a steel mace. In this case, you will be burning the NFT. In order to do this recipe, you create the recipe with, I want XYZ, and I want ABC. It's very flexible. You can say 2 laser strips, 1 iron ingot, for example. And you need a randomness source if you want to create one-of-a-kind items, like maybe you've smithed very well your iron mace, and now you get a magical iron mace. And for the crafted items, you get the flexibility of saying this iron mace is transferable, it's soulbound, it's grindable or not. And when you make the iron mace grindable, you get to have this flexibility also as a game designer to create token sinks, saying the recycling function is either getting you 100% of what you've put inside the recipe, or maybe 50%, or maybe 20%, and so on. So we've worked on that recipe and crafting protocols, and we've open sourced it. And here is an example of how it works in our game. So we have a trading card game that let the players create their own cards. So you mix resources that you get from playing and winning the game. Here you see a recipe for 1 booster card. You mix aluminum, magnesium, tungsten, and copper. The amount of resource that you need to craft this booster is completely dynamic from how the recipes and the resources are linked together on decentralized markets, like this one that we expose here. So as a player, if I want to craft a booster, I'm not exactly crafting the card directly. I'm depositing liquidity on different pool of tokens. This is completely embedded. This is hidden of the player until the player wants to look at what's happening on the blockchain side. But we are actually making a deposit in a DeFi protocol to let the player craft. What's really good with that also is when the player is going to try to grind the card or grind the items, he is also eventually going to get the yield and whatever those resources have been put at work on the DeFi protocol meanwhile. With the example I said before about leather and iron, if someone just making lots of leather in the game, in this case, if someone is buying a lot of aluminium, well, the recipe is changed for everyone. Everybody needs less aluminium to craft because someone is collecting aluminium, for example. And grinding previously emitted items will eventually get you whatever the DeFi protocol has been getting you in the first place. And that's a protocol choice for us, but any games can be built with or without that. So if we craft, that's available in live. I'm not giving live demo, but you can try the game on your smartphone. It works this way. You get to craft an items. For example, we're going to craft a 5 booster card. You're actually doing deposits, and maybe if you participated in a DeFi protocol, that's kind of a transaction you're familiar with. We are depositing things on Uniswap V2, so directly on the pools from aluminum to magnesium, from copper to tungsten. We are then calling back Chainlink to give us a random number. And with this random number, we generate the random content of the booster itself. And once your booster has been emitted, you open the booster and you get the card inside of it. And voila, the NFTs are in your wallet. Completely flexible, completely usable right away. It's open source and audited. You should check it out. Once you have this card, in our games, we have a small recycling function that lets you get 50% of what you've deposited. So the players are not abusing, retrying the random number by crafting and grinding, crafting and grinding. Yet, the card that you just got, it can be grinded to get back the things that you've just used to craft. And once you've crafted the card, you can grind it back into the different tokens that you just had. Finally, if you don't want to grind the cards, you can either play it or sell it on the marketplace. It's compatible with any marketplace. Of course, we expose one, but anybody can sell it on their own marketplace or keep it or transfer it to their friends. Yeah. We're also working on a rental system. We're going to make it open source and let everybody use it. We are working on this with different guilds, such as YGG or Blackpool, getting their feedback on what works best for properly renting items. Here you see the current beta of the rental system. You select spaceships. You want to rent the spaceships. You have a flexibility on how you want to mix the eventual revenue that you get from the game using the spaceships between the owner, between the renter. If you have rented the spaceship, you can also sub-rent. It's also very flexible in this manner. And at the end, as a player, you just want maybe not to commit for a long time to a game. You just want to rent a cool asset and see if you like it. Well, you have this rental system that is open source and can be used for your game as well. So what to keep in mind about that? After all, the blockchain layer and its impact is going to be huge because most of the utilities are open source. They are, for most of them, also audited and battle tested. So it's fine as a game developer or as a studio to look at what's available and getting inspired for what's available. So if you think about how you're going to get the people playing Elden Ring to play your game, well, if Elden Ring support NFTs, you're going to bring NFTs to your game and let those NFTs have an effect in your game. Many different companies, not only us, are pioneering in this topic and are trying to create stuff that can be used from external developers. And the one that we are working on is compatible with any DeFi protocols and any marketplaces for NFTs. So check it out. It's easy to use and integrate. Coming back to the initial question, how will blockchain revolutionize the world of gaming? This is really a prodigious source of new business model. Inverse rental protocols, inverse subscription protocols, linked to DeFi protocols. Instead of buying the license to play the game, just do a deposit on this DeFi protocol and get your funds back. Lock it for a year and you have the game for a year. We're just going to be paid by the yield. That's just an example of things that can be done. There is an extension of the existing infrastructure of games. Where it is, like I have my server where I run World of Warcraft, where I have my server where I run StarCraft, where I have my server when I run Diablo, I have my server when I run Skyrim, MMORPG. No, there is a base layer that's called a blockchain, and that's heavily accepted as a layer of ownership for all the players. That's available and that's usable right now. And what I'm mostly excited about is how this blockchain layers is going to bring new genres of game that's going to be super exciting and innovative to play. So If you're not convinced yet, you probably haven't played Roblox. Imagine Roblox with blockchain, and your mind will be blown. Kids that are under 14-year-old right now will definitely have a blockchain account and a gaming blockchain account before they have a bank account. So the new generation are here to help us on that and to drive the forces for this adoption. Thank you. And I have 2 minutes for questions, if there is any. Yeah. How to earn money. Okay, new talk, how to earn money. Well, at ComF, we don't do play to earn. I think it's the wrong way to put it. If you have a game that say play and earn, or play to earn, or play while you earn, or earn while you, well, play and earn in the same sentence usually gets weirdly in the mind of a user. When you are doing a task and trying to have fun doing this task, if at the same time you are thinking about how you're going to do better at this task to earn money, the objective of earning money gets over everything you get in terms of fun and pleasure playing the game. So you can have pleasure earning money. I have pleasure when I receive my wire at the end of the month. But if you focus on how much you're going to get as a wire, you don't have fun anymore. So having the fun value you get out of playing can be really conflicting with the earn value that you get from some play-to-earn games or some play-to-earn scheme. So that's probably that can be probably worked out some way. Like I'm not saying we are not going to have any games that are play-to-earn and working long term. Just dubious it can happen. But if you focus on building a model where people play and earn, the only way so far that we've seen that sort of work or potentially work is having two classes of players or two classes of customers in your case. You have lots of content, something super heavy, super good, mind-blowing, that is super difficult to actually get to. So that's the super expensive premium game style. And on the other side, you have a super dull, painful stuff, and people that are playing this part to pay the other ones. So you need to bring more and more heavily paying customer, and then have more and more villagers or peons that are accepting to play the other part of the game to do that. The very first cryptocurrency, 14 seconds, was probably the gold of World of Warcraft. And at the end, you had people that were paying a subscription to play World of Warcraft at high level, and you have thousands of people that were just grinding gold and selling gold to those people. Well, those people were not having fun; they were earning wages in the metaverse. But it's not really a game. So, how to make money? Create good content. Good content. And be fair to your players.
Thank you very much, Jerome.